Hello everybody, my name is Virus Litterball and I am back to bring you guys another video in my Windows Chicago series. Today we will be looking at Windows Chicago Build 99. Now I was gonna look at Chicago Build 81. However, I just could not get that started. So instead, we will be looking at Windows Chicago 99. Fortunately, these two builds are nearly identical, so it's going to be a little bit more easier for me to tell you guys about both builds. So I'm going to be talking about both builds today. Let's start with Windows Chicago 81. Windows Chicago 81 was compiled on January 1994. I don't have an exact date. However, in Windows Chicago Build 99 was compiled on May 9th, 1994. So these two were made in the same relatively year, which is pretty cool. And like as I stated, that both builds are pretty much identical. The only real difference is that there's tiny changes, and Build 99 looks a lot more polished than Build 81. Now Build 81 came with a couple of new features. From Build 81, the background for the construction background is centered. And this is the first build that has the actual start button, the new start button, the single start button is selected by default. So once I boot up into the system, we will be able to see the start button. And the running applications above the taskbar was removed, so you won't see that in the old build. You guys saw that it would kind of like have that Dr. Watson. And it would kind of, instead of being in the taskbar, it would be above the taskbar. That's gone. There are some changes in control panel, and the icons on the desktop have been arranged by name. So that's pretty cool. And changes from Build 81, so Build 99 has a couple of little tiny changes. From Build 81, networking is configured before files are copied. The help button was removed, if you guys noticed that. And there was some new text after you install the Plus Pack. The Plus Pack had a new font, and after that there was some new font too, so that's pretty cool. And now we're starting here. So you got some new things here. It's wanting to ask me for files. It's to install some drivers or some devices. So if I wanted to install some devices, I'm just gonna skip that. I kept this footage in. I was going to cut it out in editing. However, I do want to show you guys this so you guys can see what you guys saw before you were in this build. So here, a new device installation wizard. You can tell this is probably about 1.5 minutes about with nothing, just it asking for stuff. I just wanted to test everything out and see how it looked. And like I said, I was gonna actually remove this, but I thought, you know, it's actually good to show you guys this because you guys need to see what I want to show you guys as much as I can. I want to show you guys as much new things as I can. I don't want to bore you with an installation that you've seen time and time again. This one I kept because it's new. There's some new aspects to it. The only thing I saved you guys from was the file copying, because that did take a little bit. It did take a little bit. So we have remote access. So you could have used remote access on these builds. And here we go. A new desktop looks a lot new. And we don't have the construction background anymore. It's starting to look more like Windows 95. My computer has changed. Apparently it's thinking we're running on a laptop. But anyway, it's starting to look a little bit more like the final product. This is probably about the earliest build when it starts looking more like the final product. That bat file icon is still there. There's a lot of changes here, as you guys can see. There's some new things that I see that I haven't seen, like the GRP conf select drive. This is for defrag. We haven't seen defrag in a while. This is, I think this is the first instance where we see Windows defrag. Free cell looks still the same, relatively the same. Yes, we want to resign the game. Don't want to spend too much time here. I'm looking at these files, and I'm starting to. Whenever I look at these files, I think of 98 and Windows XP. This is what I'm thinking of. There's Regedit. Regedit looks like the modern Regedit as we know today. So this is where Regedit gets a big tweak. And it looks a lot more modern. It looks like how we would find it in Windows today, which is amazing. How you guys can see that all of our programs from right now, they came all stemmed from right back here, and this was on May 9th, 1994. Minesweeper's still the same. I'm still terrible. Oh! How could I be so careless? I forgot to tell you guys, they finally added the new buttons. So as you guys can see, the minimize, maximize button and the close button, no longer is it a Windows 3.1 kind of thing where you have to click on the left hand corner and click all close or control alt delete, I'm sorry. And now you can just click one button and it closes it. So that's really cool. This is the first time we've seen this build, which is really nice. Oh, I guess I can't look at the version number. Okay, fine. Fair enough. Alright, so let's look at control panel because they said there was a little... Ah, yes, there are some changes. Display looks different, the mouse looks different, there's a new thing, security, power management, telephony, wonder what that is. There's some new backgrounds here. The display looks a little bit more... Apply now. Oh. Huh, well, I guess I can't change the color palette. Maybe unsuccessful. Okay. Because apparently I haven't specified what type of monitor I use. Okay, I really don't care. So this is where we could change the little, you know, the little look of it. Here's black and blue. Blue and black, I mean, I'm sorry. You know, this is our defaults. So it looks a lot like the final product now. It's starting to look like the final product. And there's a lot more builds that I could be covering. However, I will not cover them because they'll all look the same. The only other real differences will be kernel, some bugs are going to be fixed, and the icons are going to change. I don't want to show you guys a bunch of builds, so I'm only going to be showing you some important builds, like major security updates and stuff like that. So don't expect to see a bunch of other builds, because I have a lot of other builds on Windows Chicago that range from build 229 to, like, so I don't even think that's a build number, I'm sorry. Build 200 to build like 900, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather just show you guys some important things and show you guys the development of Windows Chicago, which is pretty cool. And yes, it still calls itself Chicago. It's still not Windows 95 yet. We'll see. Stay tuned and you guys will find out in which build it starts calling itself Windows 95. Alrighty. So here we go. We still got a couple more things here. Clock looks the same. No biggie. Still looks pretty much relatively the same. Everything else is... Oh, we got dialer. Ooh, this is something I never saw. That's interesting. So I guess, oh, you can use for modems, I guess. Yeah, for modems, because back in the day they didn't use routers, or they just had a modem, like a little... Yeah. You guys know what I mean, those dialers. Dial-up. Dial-up. I'm lucky I didn't grow up in that generation of dial-up. I grew up on broadband. It's nice. RNAA app. That doesn't open, so... Sound recorder. So this looks like... this looks more or less like the sound recorder today. More or less. Not exactly, but more or less. Start task manager. Same. Yeah, task manager still the same. Looks a little different. Nah, still the same. I see Dr. Watson's been removed. I don't see Dr. Watson in here anymore. I think they might have removed it in 91, I think. In 81, I'm sorry. Yeah, and probably Chicago 81, they probably removed Dr. Watson, because I don't see Dr. Watson here. This is a new program. WinPad. Well, this is pretty cool. I think I pretty much showed you guys as much as I can show you. This is pretty much it. I'm just messing around with some programs, because this is pretty much a new thing. It's a big build. This is pretty much as close as the final product as we're gonna get in a beta build, and it was still early in development. It was still a whole year before Windows 95 would be released, and it's already looking like the final product. But I'm sure that Microsoft still had some bugs to deal with and all that. Oh yeah, there's some sounds, but my sound card is not supported on this, unfortunately, so I didn't hear any startup sounds, so I apologize for that. Well, I think that'll be it, guys. That's pretty much it for Windows Chicago Build 99. Well then, that was a fun route. Oh yeah, we can move the taskbar. You could have moved it in the earlier build. I just never showed you guys that, just to clarify. Alrighty guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Always, thanks so much for watching. Virus Alertable, signing off.